A man sat by the glowing fireplace in a leather chair. He was thinking, what is resin is for missing today? Then the answer phone started screaming, one more sick note and you're fired. He sat there with a blank expression on his face. He looked like he was thinking about something. Then he just got up and walked outside and slithered into his Vauxhall Astra. He then just drove away into the distance. He was driving down a narrow county lane when he saw a man. He had ripped trousers and a slave missing on his jacket. He had his thumb out. He must want a lift, he said to himself. He drove opposite the man and said, are you going anywhere? The man replied, I will go wherever the wind takes me. The man leapt into the car and pushed the crook lock to the side so he could sit down. The driver asked, what bring you down these parts? The man replied, I follow the sun from west to east, wherever it goes I go. The man continued to tell the driver his life story. The driver's face turned red and his grip on the steering wheel got tighter. You could see the driver was angry. Then something snapped and he picked up the crook lock and smacked the man on the head over and over again. The look on his eyes was the look of a savage beast killing its next meal. The driver then calmed down, realized what he has done to an innocent man. He opened the door and pushed him out, never to be seen again. The man turns around and speeds back to get away from the terrible thing he just did. He phoned up the police to hand himself in for the crime he had just committed. The police arrived as soon as they could. They arrested the man and took him to the station to get more information about the murder. The man was sent to a mental hospital where he would spend the rest of his life. 7 years later, the man had a mental breakdown in the middle of the mental hospital. He was just sitting in his chair rocking back and forth like normal, but something was wrong. He was making funny noises like chinks clucking and cow mooing in green lush fields. Then he just had a huge fit in his chair. He was rushed to hospital. He spent 3 weeks in hospital recovering from his fit. When he got back from hospital, his family came to visit him. They brow flow think here so colorful they could blind you. His family spent 5 hours taking to him and catching up on what has been going on in his life. When they left, they said they would be back soon, but they never came back to visit him. 3 weeks after the visit, the man hanged himself, due to very bad depression, in the shower with his belt, and was found 1 hour later by a non-bro staff who was looking for him. When his body was buried, no one was at his funeral. His body was laid to rest in New Haven Cemetery. His body may be gone, but his spirit still lives on in the mental hospital, tormenting all the visitors and the patients all day every day for the rest of his spirit life. 3 years have passed since his death, and Lee is getting tired of tormenting people for fur. So he decided to leave the hospital and go around people's houses and terrorize them. There was Orphan May, who had 3 kids who were called Kate, Dom and Abby. Kale was the oldest. She was 12, Dom was 10 and Abby was. Kale was always the one who led the way. She was never scared of anything. Dom was shy. He did not like being with people or going outside. Abby was curious like all 7-year-olds, but she was different. She was always asking questions and was quite a chatterbox. One day they went out on a trip, but Dom did not want to go, so Kate stayed at home with him and made sure he was safe. It was 10 p.m. and Kale was watching TV downstairs and Dom was reading a book in his bed. There was a tape on the window. Kale got up to see what was the noise. Dom was drifting off to sleep. Then his door creaked open and he just laid there motionless and silent. Dom was there alone in the dark, and then he felt a cold breath over his face and he leaped out of bed screaming in fear. Kate came to need him to see what all the commotion was all about. He said in a quiet and scared voice, my door opened slowly and then I felt someone breathing on me. Kale said, you must be imagining it because no one is in your room. When the rest of the family came home, the kids told him what had happened. The parents reassured his kids it was fine and there was nothing to worry about because they are here. The parents put the kids to bed. They sat down and watched some TV. They were flicking through the channels and they saw a news report that said there were some strange achievings going on in the nearby mental hospital. The parents thought nothing of it, but that the decision would later bite him in the back. The next morning the kids went off to school and the father went to work in the offices down the road. The mother was doing some spring cleaning in the kitchen when she heard a loud bang upstairs in Dam's room. She decided it was nothing and carried on cleaning happily. Then it happened again, but this time it was in Abby's room, so the mother decided to check what was up. When she got into Abby's room, that doll's house had fallen over and all of its squares had fallen up the floor, so she decided to pick it all up and put it back on the chest of drawers where it was originally. After she had done with Abby's room, she went into Dam's room to see what happened in there. To her surprise, his legged star had fallen off onto the floor and shattered. But while she was tidying up, the door slammed behind her and she could see a figure approaching towards her. She tried to scream but nothing came out. The figure kept getting closer. It grabbed her neck and squeezed so Jaju could hear her voice box crack. Wunderrenner Sprache turned purple almost instantly and was crying with pain. The figure dabbed. She dropped down dead on the spot. This murder was the beginning of a of the biggest murdering sprees in the history of the world.